Once you've done number 2, manually adjusted your heat sheet and printed, your meet has now started and you're ready to enter in your live results. So in Touchpad, you'll go to enter results and you'll put in the heat number and race number. Now if you tested the dolphin timer, which you normally do, only one time, race number 1 will be your test race. So race 2 should be the times for your real race 1. So race number is created for each and every time the dolphin timers are started. So I really see the race number as a file number in the system, and a file is created every single time there's a false start or those dolphin timers go off for a different heat. A new race is created. You're going to go into Get Race. Always check that the timers match the timing papers. So if they don't match up, you're probably in the wrong race number. If the line is red, you need to manually adjust the time, choose the middle time, and unselect any bad times. Write the computer assigned race number on your timer's heat sheet paper to keep track. This is just kind of a nice thing to do to keep track of which file or race numbers are aligned with the correct heats. I don't always remember to do this, but it's kind of a nice thing to do. Once you're okay to import, you hit OK to import and then click Next Event on the top and repeat the process to put in the numbers into the next event. So what this looks like is, say the meet has started. And again, because this meet is an old meet, there are already times in these columns, but typically this would be blank. We're in race 1. Over here, we're going to pretend like, okay, we're in heat 1, yes. Race number 1 was probably our test that we did when we tested our timers. Look, they tested for about 15 seconds. Yeah, that probably was our test run. Now, race 2 is usually the very first meet, but sometimes the timers get tested again. So when I went to race 2, just one odd little 3-minute timer, that seems odd, came up. Okay, so that's probably not our timers. That's not the races for these girls who swam this 50 free. I don't think they did it. First of all, there's only one time that came through. Second of all, I don't think it took them 3 minutes to do that. So that was probably our starter, kind of maybe testing the timer before they got going. So let's go to, again, race kind of means file. And every time the timers, the dolphins get tested, if new file is created. Let's go to race 3. 23 seconds, and they all kind of look consistent. This must be our first live race. Now, one time does come up red. So we double check all of these times first of all. We look at the timing papers, and the reader would say 23:86, 21:89, 23:98, 22:73. Those should be the numbers they're seeing on the papers that the timers wrote down. That should be aligning from what came through on the computer. And then we have to double check anything that comes up red. We'd say lane 2 is in red. And we would check to see these 2 times versus the manual time. And that would be timer C, would be manually written on the timer paper. And decide which one's the middle time. And check, say the middle time is this one, and the other manual timer was much higher. Let's see. Well, maybe it was 24. And actually, the middle time would be this 23. It doesn't like decimals, so I shouldn't have put the decimal in there. This should just have 2400, no decimal, because it doesn't like decimals. And saying, oh, the middle time is actually this one. Low, middle, high. And so I'm going to leave a check mark there. I want to use this time. Notice it populates over there. And then we would click OK to import, and then it will populate those times over here. I'm not going to do this again because it's training and I don't want to override those old times, but it would be okay to import, and then you would see them populate over here. Then, say we went on to the next heat. After you hit OK to import, this would have automatically advanced to 4, but since I didn't actually hit OK, I have to make that a 4. I'm going to click Get Race. Notice to the left here I have one swimmer, Rosie, but I have 2 times that look really accurate. Like they look like those are real live swimmers. Chances are Rosie, since she was the only girl in that heat, swam with a different boy. So chances are, if we look at the timer papers, these are Rosie's times. So we would double check which one of these 2 times are Rosie's time. If those were it, we would uncheck the one that we don't want to use, keep Rosie's time, OK to import. Then, and again, when you click OK to import, it would go in, but I'm going to skip that step because it's training. Then we would go to boys, and we would go to Get Race. And his time was still in that file 4 with Rosie, because if you notice, there were 2 really live times. So we would look at the timing papers and figure out which one was Thomas's. Chances are he swam in lane 3, and those are his live times. And we would uncheck Rosie's time. And if those were really Thomas's times, we would only click on his lane 3 and click OK to import. And then put them in. And again, once you click OK to import, it automatically advances to 5. If you're done with that race, you would go on to the next one, and it would have already advanced to 5. Get Race. And you would verify that these times match with these swimmers and go from there. The timer papers are always matching what the dolphin timers are reading versus what the timing papers are written down. I'm making sure everything aligns right. So it's just Get Race, check. If there's no reds, OK to import. If boys and girls got combined, making sure you're unusing and then putting in the right times with each swimmer. And that's how you run the actual meet.